This is a game as a service. Like my apartment is a place as a service. Right. I frequently have to call my landlord because the sink stops working.
Yeah, it's a home as a service.
It's a home as a service, kind of. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. It's too early.
Anthony, what are you doing?
Social.
Still, how long did it take you?
I have that thing that locks me out of my social apps until I do a little thing.
I called it. He showed me this.
It's been helping me a lot.
Anthony downloaded an app.
Every situation except this one.
Anthony downloaded an app that when he goes to open social media, it basically is like, hey, are you sure? Are you sure? And then you have to like press and hold. It makes you take a breath. And that's very sweet in theory, but it's less sweet as people who work on social media. And I was like, no, one day I'm going to be needing to post something to go live or something like that. And it's going to absolutely piss me off and I'm going to throw my phone out a window.
Yeah.
That would be so annoying and in the way for me.
Yeah.
And here it is, doing exactly what I said it would do.
Yeah, but not to you, to me. And I'm not mad and I'm not throwing anything away. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, well, I'm not pleased.
Well,
good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Saige Ryan.
And I'm Anthony Carboni. And BBs, let me tell you something about this phone. Saige did ask me before we went live. She's like, what have you been doing on your phone? Saige, it happened.
I shared all of these things and I was like, oh, okay, he reposts the social posts.
Saige.
He's been on his phone for 10 minutes. He must have reposted it.
Saige, I'm about to tell you. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, no, I haven't reposted. She said, what have you been doing on your phone? I said, I'll tell you. I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
It finally happened, Saige. I finally succumbed to it. My high score is 28-47 on Watermelon Game.
Were you playing it just now?
I'm not saying...
Instead of resharing the social posts?
I went to do the social posts.
That made us late to start the show?
I went to do the social posts, and then it turned out that I had a tab up that had Watermelon Game in it. And sorry.
That's why we're late starting the show today?
No, that's not why we're late starting the show today. I said I'm doing social, and we just started anyway.
No, we'd been waiting. You were looking at
your phone.
You
were waiting for me?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't vocalize that. I had no idea. I was just playing the Watermelon Game.
You know what time the show starts?
Yeah. Listen, there are other people here. Y'all doing your things. I'm just sitting here. I'm quietly waiting. If you say let's go, I'm ready to go.
No, you weren't. And then I said let's go and you weren't ready to go.
No, I was pretty ready.
Anyways, good morning, everyone. Hi, Alex. Good morning to you as well.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm so tired. I've never been more tired in my life, actually.
Tell them why.
I have packed up an entire apartment and I'm leaving, I'm heading to the East Coast and I've put all my stuff in storage with the help of some very lovely movers. But today I have to go back and clean the rest of that apartment. So I got 4 hours of sleep 2 days ago. Tonight I got maybe 6 hours of sleep and a lot of dust to sweep.
Yeah.
Alex is leaving us.
Yeah, we don't feel bad for you because you're leaving.
Yeah.
We don't feel bad for you because you're leaving us behind and you're
going to miss me so bad.
We are.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Very different responses.
Nuh-uh, because guess what? Because I don't even care. I'm just mad that you showed up tired and we started the show late because of it.
Wow. I'm gonna delete you from the stream. It's me and Saige now.
You can just go to my close. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Delete me from the stream.
It's okay.
Hi.
How long is it gonna be you and Saige
for? Chat show
90 minutes before you leave us forever?
That is fair.
Cool bluff. Cool bluff. You horrible meanie. Okay. Leaving us.
I'll miss you too.
I'm not gonna say it because I don't feel it.
What's that?
Nothing.
What's that, buddy?
I don't miss anybody. Mm-hmm. I'm not sad. You're sad.
Anyways, what a day of news it's about to be.
What
a complicated...
What a tale of misfortune this whole morning is about to be.
Would you say a complicated web of news that you got ahead of us?
I would say we have story after story of people just snatching defeat from the jaws of victory this morning.
Yeah.
Just
taking L's nonstop.
L's, just unforced L's.
Yeah.
Just truly setting them
in L's.
Yeah. You had two-factor authentication on these L's.
Yeah.
The L reached back out to these people and said, "Are you trying to L?"
And they said, "Sure am."
If you're trying to L, enter this 6-digit code from your authentication app.
Yeah.
And Sony Pictures and the Completionist and Nintendo were like,
boop, 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 boop. Every one of them.
every one of them was
The ball
just like,
was laid upon the rim of the basket, and all they had to do was tap it in.
simply, it was alleyed. All they needed to do was
And
oop.
they reached their hand inside the hoop instead and batted it out.
Yeah. They somehow went to tap it in and wound up tangled in the net. Like Scooby-Doo trying to play basketball.
Like a web?
Imagine me as a Muppet. If you imagine me as a Muppet, this is really funny. You know?
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm seeing it.
Yeah, it's good, right?
It's really funny if it was something totally different.
One of my favorite things that Muppets do is when they do the surprise just,
Yeah. If something different than what's happening it was happening right now, it'd be so funny.
hey, fuck you.
Hey, fuck you.
Hey, fuck you.
Hey, fuck you. Hey,
fuck
fuck you.
Everyone shut up. It's news time.
All right, well, let's start with Madam Web.
Okay.
I haven't seen the trailer yet, so that'll be fun.
Yeah. We got
Wait,
five.
let's tell you about what's coming up. Sorry.
Yeah, Madam Web, Nintendo, the Completionist, all the people that held.
Yeah,
Like,
layoffs.
yeah,
We'll
layoffs
talk about the
too.
Game Awards nominees a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. You already know who they are. You already know. You BBs are up on things.
There's a reason I want to talk about it a little bit. We'll get to it.
There's a couple of reasons to talk about it a little bit.
There's a lot of reasons.
First of all, the Madam Web trailer dropped like literally this morning. Mm-hmm. I woke up. I walked over to the window, and I
Then to
threw
the wall.
and I threw open the sash.
Uh-huh.
And I looked down and I said, "You there, boy? What day is it?" And he looked up and he said, "Oh, today is Madam Web trailer day, sir." And I said, "That wasn't a bit?
They're really doing it.
They're doing Madam Web. It's not a bit." He's like, "No, sir, it's not a bit. And Adam Scott is playing Uncle Ben." And I said, I said, "Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you."
And then the kid said, "Fuck you."
And the kid said, "Fuck you, sir."
"Fuck you, sir."
And then he went away on those old style Dickensian crutches.
Yeah.
But the Madam Web trailer is real. The Madam Web trailer is real. I thought they were goofing.
Mm-hmm.
It came out this morning. Do we want to watch it?
Yeah, because I haven't seen it.
We got 5 DMCAs on Monday. Do we want to watch it?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And honestly, let's fucking go. I
Let's
feel like we're on a
fucking go.
streak with it. We're going to watch it on silent. We're going to watch it. We don't have to listen to it.
No.
But I also want to give a little bit of context because people are like, what the fuck is Madam Web?
Yeah.
In a live studio audience, which is a very, very valid question.
But, okay, we do want to give context, but at the same time, I want people to watch this trailer not knowing.
yeah?
Yeah, because this trailer, if you don't know, I think is wild.
Okay.
Watch this trailer, and if you don't know anything about Madam Web, and BBs, if you're in the live studio audience, when this trailer is going on, when it's over, I just want everybody, I want you to put a little spider emoji in the chat if you did not understand what was going on in the trailer.
Okay, so let's watch the trailer if we can, Alex, on mute, but with captions on. That would be great. And I feel like this is a perfectly fine way for me to experience the trailer for the first time.
Should we put it up on one of our computers locally so we're not on a delay?
To react to it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Change of plans, Alex. Fuck what I said. And
Hey.
fuck you.
Hey, fuck you. Hey, fuck you.
Fuck you. All right. Where is
All
this
right.
even trailer? Hold on. All right. Give me a minute now. Hold on. I'm okay. All right. Hold on. Okay.
All right.
Grumble, 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 grumble.
Grumble, grumble, robble, robble.
Okay. I'm ready.
Let's play the Madam Web trailer.
Okay.
Here's the pre-trailer for the
Trailer
trailer.
starts now. Why would you open a trailer with trailer starts now? That's so wild.
They all do now.
I don't get the pre-trailer trailer. I know those like first few seconds on YouTube are important, but damn.
So that's not a Spider-Man.
No.
That's some sort of a bad Spider-Man.
A different. Okay.
Dakota Johnson is Madam Web, but we don't know anything about that yet.
Sure.
And she is with those 3 other women. And what was that?
Stabbed, but not really. Now she's outside.
It turns out she was seeing it.
Whoa. Bridge. Ambulance.
Yep. So she's a paramedic.
Okay.
And it turns out
Is that Ben Wyatt?
Yeah, that's Adam Scott.
I know, I'm just
That's Adam Scott as Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben, who I guess was a paramedic.
I guess. I don't know. All I know about him is that he just keeps dying.
Yeah.
Usually all we know about him is that he's dying.
So she says she's been having visions. Uh-huh. She saw the deaths in advance.
Okay.
Now, what I do want people to notice, and you probably have already, is that's an old style New York subway. That guy was just playing a PSP.
Okay, so
This is everybody's wearing early 2000s fashions.
yeah. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I love a Y2K setting.
Sure. And there's a reason for it, but they're not going to really tell you about it.
Yeah, sure, why not? Why tell us anything? Okay, she has friends. That's nice.
Yep. The whole thing looks it's got that like 2007 Sony look that's very CW.
It is, yeah.
So that guy
It's
is
giving a little bit of like Vampire Diaries, you know?
Yeah.
Like a little bit of...
So she just said her mom was a spider researcher. Sydney Sweeney says, I'm here. Sydney Sweeney says, hey, are you under 25? I'm here.
Yeah.
So you'll come see the movie, right? Because I'm
Yeah,
here.
people love Sydney Sweeney.
People love Sydney Sweeney. He's not a Spider-Man.
We have to keep reminding you that
His
is
name-
not a Spider-Man.
So, and then you see just a little
Ooh.
flashes of them as
Ooh.
spider heroes.
Ooh, they actually looked kind of cool.
They do look kind of cool. Unless
do?
you freeze frame on it,
Oh no.
then they don't look super cool.
Really?
But, yeah, but they look off. Yeah,
I want to see women be cool spider people.
like there was one
Like that looked sick.
that was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening.
And let's talk about universe.
Yeah. Well, let's wait for this to end.
God, this
But
is
yeah.
long. Okay, it's ending. Yeah.
Madam Web's logo really said graphic design is my passion.
Yeah. It's just letters with webs in it.
Yeah. So put a spider in the chat if you did not understand what was going on.
Okay.
We've definitely got spiders coming.
Spider. Fortunately, I have a spider emote.
A lot of spiders. A lot of spiders coming. So you might be wondering, now we can tell you, what the hell is Madam Web? What the hell was going on there?
Okay.
Madam Web is Cassandra Webb. Mm-hmm. Cassandra named after the future telling oracle, right? Uh-huh. It's cute. It's fun.
Is her legal last name Webb?
Webb, W-E-B-B.
Come on.
Now,
My mom was a spider researcher.
Yeah.
My last name is Webb.
yeah. Well, okay. So in the comics, there's a very cool reason for all of this. I'm going to get to that. Okay. But in the movie, I don't know how much they're going to get to it. So Cassandra Webb, her mother was studying spiders in the jungle with this guy, Ezekiel.
Okay.
Okay. Then later on in her life, she finds out that she has the power of clairvoyance. She can see into the future, particularly when she is in danger or something bad is going to happen.
Okay.
It's kind of like her version of spider sense, right?
Yes.
So in this movie, she also meets 3 other spider people. Because here at Sony, we do things a little differently. We like to serve our spider people family style.
Yep.
We recommend like 3 or 4 spider people for the group. Just really get the spider people going.
Yeah.
So it looks like
And because we can't have Tom Holland.
and we can't have Tom Holland, but that's an interesting part of this movie. So 3 spider people. The first is Julia Carpenter, who is Spider-Woman. That's Sydney Sweeney. We saw a little bit of her in her mask.
Okay.
We have Maddie Bryce, who is also a Spider-Woman.
Okay.
And then we have Anya Corazon, who is Aranya.
Okay.
And what's basically happening is in the comics, Ezekiel is trying to kill baby Peter Parker so he can't become Spider-Man.
Okay.
And so their job
We do
is
see
to
her with a baby.
We do see her with a baby. We know that Ben Parker is there. Emma Roberts is supposedly playing Mary Parker, Peter Parker's mom,
Okay.
Ben's sister, right? It turns out they're trying to save baby Spider-Man, maybe, if they're going according to the
That
comics.
feels like the funniest workaround when they sat down. And I understand that it's from the comics, but when they sat down and they're like, what stories can we, Sony, tell without Marvel and without having to share this? What can we possibly do to get as much out of how much people love Spider-Man as possible? How close can we get to Spider-Man without having to deal with Marvel?
We could just, what if we had, there's Peter Parker, but he's a baby. He's a baby.
He's not even Spider-Man yet.
He's
It
not
doesn't
even
matter. It's fine. He's just a
Spider-Man
baby.
This really feels to me like, I don't know if you ever watched CW shows when they were doing the Arrowverse.
Oh yeah,
but
all of them.
Okay, so this really feels to me like the first season of Supergirl when they kept looking out the window and saying, there's Superman. Oh my goodness.
You just missed him.
Superman's punching a giant robot. I can't believe this.
Right.
There he is, Superman. And then like Superman would text. He'd be like, you're doing a great job, Kara.
Yep.
And it was like, what the fuck, man? You have to show Superman. This really feels like that for Spider-Verse movies.
Hudsonizer in the live studio audience said baby Spidey is the new baby Yoda. I want all the merch of just that human baby.
A CG baby Tom Holland, but with giant eyes.
Just the normal human baby. Because they used a normal human baby. Plushies, t-shirts, Halloween costumes.
I'm baby Spider-Man.
It's just
probably.
an infant. Just a human infant.
So people who are fans of Spider-Man, this story is from Spider-Verse, the Spider-Verse comics. The Spider-Verse comics, I love them. The Spider-Verse movies have way better storylines.
Yeah.
But people might notice that this was from the Spider-Verse comics, but all of these characters are obviously in different places in their lives than they would be. Like they're not all spider people yet, or they're just starting to be or something. I don't know. They all know each other. I don't know what's going on.
Do we know how they become spider people?
Probably bitten by
All of them get bit?
They were bitten by a radioactive need to keep the rights to a franchise.
Again, like I'm down to see a bunch of cool Spider Women.
Me too. And like the fact that they chose Anya, who's one of the newer ones, is really like she was just introduced in, like within the last couple years. I think that's great. Doing Julia Carpenter instead of Jessica Drew is interesting because
That is interesting.
because obviously they already have a Jessica Drew in place in the animated, and they're
Right.
like, let's not confuse people.
I didn't. Now, mind you, we did watch it on silent because we got so many DMCA strikes this week. But
And that probably won't stop us from getting struck again, but we have to try.
because we watched the other ones on silent too.
Yeah, we have to try.
I didn't hate the trailer as much as I thought I was going to.
No, I was just confused by it.
I still don't know why I know why they're doing it, but I don't.
Right. I understand the business reasons of the business marketing and strategy reasons of why they're doing it. Creatively, I don't get why this.
Yeah.
And you've got, it is from the Morbius team. So we are webbing, boys. It's
It's
webbing time.
right. Anthony was also, we were in the green room and he was talking and he was like, I just thought they'd do all the other villains first. I'm surprised they're doing Madam Web. And I was like, that's the problem. They have.
Yeah.
You just don't want to accept that that's it.
I forgot that it was just Morbius and Craven.
Morbius, Craven, Madam Web. All the all-stars, baby, of the Spider-Man villains.
So a few things. Number one, this does look like it is a little under budgeted.
Yeah.
It seems a little under budgeted.
It looks like they're trying to make a Spider-Man movie with a Sony budget.
It really looks like a CW Arrowverse.
Yeah.
Like this is when they do the pilot and the pilot's got a lot of money for the pilot. Like that first episode of The Flash was so good looking.
Yeah.
It looks kind of like that, but a little more money. I'm going to say that this looks like a Twilight movie.
Yeah.
It has that 2007 Sony Pictures look. The other thing is this is a wild story to pull not just for the baby Peter of it all, but because if you're bringing in Ezekiel and like this study in South America, which by the way, fellas, you just did Morbius with the studying bats in South America. Like,
Yeah.
come on, you got to have more than one idea, right?
Nope.
So the whole point of Spider-Verse and this stuff, which is wild in the comics, is it's about like totems. Certain people are representations of things within the universe, and those things are usually represented by animal totems. And it's like a little like, hey, we're kind of stepping on some cultures where it's like, I don't know if it's cool that we're doing this, but because we're creating all new rules, whatever. But the deal is, the reason why Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man and the reason why he fights so many villains that are based on animals is they all represent different qualities and sources of power in the universe.
Yes.
So the idea here is Ezekiel is trying to destroy Spider-Man to stop the spider totem, to bring balance and stop potentially the Spider-Verse thing where the universe nearly is destroyed from happening. This is a wild story to bring in. When you sit in the movie theater and somebody tries to tell you spider totems,
That sounds horrible.
and I don't know how much they're going to get into it,
God, I hope
but they're
they
at
don't.
least going to get into the mystical power of the spider because Ezekiel is there. He's there. And in the comics, he also doesn't wear this like anti-Spider-Man costume. He just wears his suit.
He's just wearing reverse Spider-Man.
Yeah. He's wearing honestly a Miles suit.
I was going to say it's a borderline Miles suit.
Yeah. In the comics, he just wears like the regular business suit that you see him in. He's just a guy. I would like to think for the first half of that trailer, I was like, maybe he only looks like that in her visions. Like she's seeing this dark spider thing. But then at the end, they really show a lot of action with him in it. And I was like, oh no, he looks like that now.
Hey, as someone who's playing Spider-Man 2, do you find it a little silly when they just call each other Spider-Man back and forth? Hey, Spider-Man. Yes, Spider-Man.
I like it.
It's cute. It's silly.
I like it because it's cute. And they're just like, and they both just love being Spider-Man.
Yeah, they're just out in battle and they're just like, Spider-Man, on your left.
And
Yes, Spider-Man.
And they're the only people that can do that. Because if you were to go Spider-Man, both of them would have to look.
Yeah.
But they can do it to each other. It's like if there are two Sages in a room, you can call each other Sage. But there never
would
will
never
be.
be.
If there are two Anthonys in a room, we can call each other Anthony.
Yeah.
Although one of us will usually defer to Tony.
Oh.
And sometimes nobody wants to be that guy.
Yeah.
I honestly refuse to be that guy.
We've chosen modifiers for all of the people in our friend group that they don't know about.
Yeah.
When we have
We call them all
people with the
call
same
them all
names.
Spider-Man.
You got to look at this guy. Look at him.
What?
What? Who's got the worst feet? Show us the feet. Oh my
yeah.
God.
That's Ezekiel. Yeah.
What's with the feet? Why does he wear a full suit and no shoes?
Ezekiel's a bit of a weirdie. He's been living in the jungle studying the mystical energies of the world his whole life.
Okay, living in the jungle barefoot makes sense, but then the suit doesn't. So
Yeah.
you went to the trouble of putting on a suit. This very I've been living in the jungle choice.
But it's wrinkled and he's not like buttoned up and stuff. He's just a guy. Listen,
He's barefoot.
yeah, and we put it on Twitch and now we're banned.
Yeah. Why is he shirtless there?
Because jungle. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about your rules. He cares about destroying the spider. And
Big hands.
there's a lot of stuff where he's like, I must destroy the spider. And Peter's like, I am the spider. And Peter calls it like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's not for me. It's not my fave.
Creepy.
It's
I
not my
don't know.
fave. It's a weird storyline to pull from.
Yeah.
What do you think is happening in the Disney and Marvel offices this morning? How do you think Alan Horn and Kevin Feige are feeling this morning about that trailer?
I think it's like, I think Sony is like their really weird cousin they have to bring to things. Mm-hmm. Oh, like take your cousin with you to the party. And they're like, don't make me take him to the party. Come on. Everyone's going to make fun of me for him.
Come on.
Don't do that. And they watch him embarrass himself online and they're just like, I think they feel a little like responsible, where they're like, I know this reflects on me, and I know there's nothing I can do about it.
It's like, do you know what it reminds me of now that you put it that way?
Yeah.
Do you remember the comedian Gallagher who used to smash the fruit?
Yeah.
And how his brother toured the country as Gallagher too? And
I didn't know that part of that.
Yeah.
Is that a widely known thing?
That's a thing. And he couldn't stop his brother from touring as Gallagher too for the longest time. And so it was just like, you would go to like, he was just touring as Gallagher and he was doing the whole thing with the smashing of the fruit, and he would do the same jokes and the same bits. And he was like, I'm Gallagher too. And Gallagher was like, fuck, I can't stop this guy. That's my brother.
Unhinged. Yeah.
I feel like that's
This
sort
is
of what's going on.
Gallagher too. Sony's Spider-Verse is Gallagher too.
It's Gallagher too.
I decided to look at the YouTube comments because I felt like that would be reflective maybe of how they were feeling this morning, because maybe it was well received. I don't know. I didn't watch it with sound.
You can never tell.
The top comment is, finally, the sequel to Morbius we've all been waiting for.
The Morb heads have been locking onto this one really hard. It is written by the same people.
The second comment is, I loved her line, she's madaming right behind me, isn't she?
Well, that just webbed.
This is just a reminder that a major studio looked at this and said, yes, this is good. We put millions into this and we will release it to the theaters.
This is the one that we're doing. We've decided on this one and we followed through on it. It's wild.
I definitely think this will be one of the movies of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
This looks like the best comic book adaptation since Elektra 2005.
it does look like Elektra 2005. It does look like the Jennifer Garner Elektra.
Yeah. Producers, do you want a Spider-Man movie or a Final Destination movie? Studio, yes.
Well, that's funny.
A lot of people saying the new Final Destination looks great.
If you look at this as a Final Destination movie that happens to have Spider-Mans in it, I think that's a fun way to look at it.
Yeah, giving the audience what they want. Strong, diverse women with absolutely no story arcs.
I mean, here's what we could say. They're not throwing them in a pit.
I guess they've got that. We don't know.
We don't know.
They didn't put the pit in the trailer.
No.
Marvel's not putting the pit in the trailer.
No, you don't give the pit away.
You can't show pit for free.
Can't show pit. Not on the front page of Twitch.
Can't just be putting pit in the trailer for free.
By the way, thanks to Twitch for putting us on the front page. Oh wait, did they not do that still? Are we?
No,
have
we're
we
still
still
not.
have
Yeah,
we still
we're
never
not.
been on the front page?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. This is absolutely wild to me. It is coming out. It is happening.
And it doesn't say when. It just says coming soon.
Well, because they have to get that. They have to get that Craven movie out first.
Yeah, which comes out,
Also soon.
which will come out. What is it? Could be now.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It might have been out for the last week, and
I could never know.
but since we're talking about this, I do want to talk about the flip side. I do want to talk a little bit about Marvel right now.
We talked a little bit about Marvel on, what day is it today? We talked about it on Monday.
That's right.
I'm feeling great about Marvel right now.
That's right. Everybody who has been seeing the Marvels has been loving it. It's been getting great reviews. It had a weaker than expected opening.
Yeah.
It did not open well, but those who saw it really loved it. And Marvel has been talking a lot lately about what they are going to do to sort of, you don't need to say right the ship, because they still make billion-dollar movies.
Yeah.
But to sort of get some of that excitement back that they seem to have lost over the last few years. And one of the things is, when Bob Iger came back on that earnings call, he said, we have stretched Marvel a little thin. We've stretched them thinner than they should have been stretched.
Okay.
Marvel did say, hey, we're going to back off on Disney Plus stuff. And we're also going to, when we do series on Disney Plus, they will be ongoing now.
Yeah.
But the other thing that they have done is they have updated their slate. And basically everything is delayed. Everything is delayed. They're going to take a little more time and they're going to release fewer movies.
Which makes sense. Additionally, obviously, we are coming off of the double strike. So everything was probably going to be delayed anyways, realistically.
Yeah. But they have pulled everything quite a bit. So Deadpool, we already know, was pushed to September, although Ryan Reynolds up until last week was like, we're going to make that date. We're going to make that date.
Yeah.
Couldn't make the date. Captain America Brave New World, which was set for September of next year, is now going to be February 2025. Thunderbolts is no longer your Christmas next year movie. It is now a 2025 movie.
Wow.
And Blade has moved yet again from February to November. They are now retooling the script again. They are now 5 screenwriters and 2 directors into Blade. Mahershala Ali almost walked.
Okay, but still in?
Still in.
Oh, thank goodness.
But I think they had to renew his contract, and I think they probably had to like.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing that happened is they're pivoting apparently on Avengers Kang Dynasty. Jeff Loveness, who was the writer of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, who was supposed to be the writer for Kang Dynasty, has now left the project. They are looking for a new writer for the project, and they are apparently taking that Avengers movie in a different direction. We've been talking about how they're probably going to try to minimize Kang.
Yeah.
But I think this also speaks to how much what they originally thought Phase 5 was going to be has changed in their minds.
And that is probably a very good thing.
I think so.
Like, I think that if we were to proceed on what they thought Phase 5 would be when that started coming together, it would be nothing that people actually want it to be.
Yeah.
It's figuring out what people latched onto, what they enjoyed, what has changed over it, what has changed about the actors and performers over time.
Honestly, even removing the Jonathan Majors of it all, I know a lot of people that walked out of Quantumania not feeling Kang.
Yeah.
Which, look, removing the Jonathan Majors of it all, I thought Kang was a well drawn character as far as I think it was good. There was something about the entire plot of Quantumania that made Kang feel like maybe not so much of a threat.
Okay.
But it was also an interesting road to go down. But I can see where like just didn't click with people.
Yeah.
As the big bad. People weren't as into it as they wanted to be. So I could see them, retooling that. The other thing that Marvel has said is they are going to be lowering their budgets. Marvel's movies have been standard now is over $200 million a movie.
Yeah.
And they are saying they want to rein that in, get that back down to around half of that amount of money.
Wow.
And focus in more on, drill down more on story and character the way they did in the first three phases.
What was the budget on the Marvels?
I don't know what the budget on the Marvels was. Alex, will you look that up while you're still here before you leave us forever? Yeah. You heartless man.
Over 200 million.
Wow. Yeah.
And they had additional, I don't think it was planned maybe for that. I think they ballooned because of COVID and remote shooting and all the stuff that made it a little more complicated.
Yeah, because that felt like, I don't know, it was less huge universe and a little more story for me that I did enjoy. But we have seen the last good few Marvel movies, which it just became like actors and CGI was kind of it.
Yeah.
Where it was just like action and CGI, and that's what a Marvel movie has been as of late. This one didn't feel like that to me, which was nice because there was a little character development.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to see not another, Love and Thunder.
Yeah. I think they fell into a trap that a lot of their competitors fell into, where everybody was, after the original Avengers, after most of them moved on, they really rushed some characters, I think, and were like, these are the new characters you love. And everybody's like, whoa. We had 15 years where we slowly loved all these characters.
Yeah.
Can we get a little more time with these characters? And I think they were kind of like, we don't know if we have that time for you. There were some exceptions, and I think those exceptions are the ones that I wound up liking more. Like Miss Marvel, you love because Miss Marvel had a great show that was really character focused.
Yeah. WandaVision was also incredibly character focused. And we
Right.
got to drill down into this is a small story kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's impactful in the world, but like it was a small drilled down story. I think of Miss Marvel. I think of obviously WandaVision, but I also think of even the Black Widow movie. The Black Widow movie being something that's about like these people and this family, and it doesn't have to be this like catastrophic world event. And we got a
Yeah.
little more development.
God, we should have gotten a trilogy of Black Widow movies.
Should have.
But,
Yeah.
you know.
We should have gotten the Widows
Yeah. So
8 years ago.
it's interesting to see what, Marvel kind of figuring this out. And sort of like wanting to go back to what made them great. And I think there was, I think Disney Plus did change a lot for a lot, not just Marvel, not just Star Wars, but even like the animation studios and a lot of the other studios that are under Disney.
Yeah.
A lot of people saw like, I think their productions and their timelines and their plans thrown into like a lot of chaos
Yeah.
to make sure that Disney Plus had enough stuff. And it's nice to see them saying, hey, we're gonna slow down on that maybe.
Yeah, Ula Jean in the Live View audience said there's been an abundance of superhero movies. Maybe it's time for something new. I want to challenge that in just that there is lots of other stuff. You know what I mean? Like you don't have
Yes.
to see superhero movies. Superhero movies are now a genre. Like they are their own entire thing and there are subgenres within it. So it is no longer like all superhero movies are just an action movie. There are comedy, there are drama, there
Yeah.
are science fiction based, there are time period. Like there's so many different types of superhero movies.
Yeah.
And Marvel doesn't need to do something other than superhero movies. But if you are feeling the fatigue of superhero movies, there are plenty of other movies to go see.
Yeah.
And there is no like, well, maybe we just like Marvel doesn't have to stop making movies because Marvel should be making superhero movies. They're Marvel.
Sure.
That makes sense. And I understand the fatigue of it as well. But I also think that there has become a thing where like we only go to the theater when we need to see something that we know everyone's going to be talking about. And for the longest time, that's been Marvel.
Yeah. Or something that like, I can't get the experience of this in
Yeah.
my house.
But like some of that can be broken up. And like I've recently started going to the movies again. And I don't know, it fixed a lot of things for me. And it feels so silly to say this because it's such a like simple, small thing. But like going to the movies again for things other than the tentpole Marvel movies or like
Yes.
the blockbuster that everyone I know is going to be talking about. And just going to the movies because I want to see a movie. They can be watching movies at home too. Has helped break up a lot of that fatigue for me.
Yeah.
Because
And
I didn't realize I wasn't doing it.
Yeah, I think it's become, and I think when people say like, oh, we're tired of superhero movies, I think that we have watched the middle sort of fall out of the film industry over the last 20 years,
Yeah.
where everything now does have to be a tent pole. And if the tent poles are superhero movies, we are seeing more and more and more superhero movies than we ever had.
Yeah.
And I get that, but superhero as a genre, like you were saying, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a genre. Superhero should be plot. Superhero should be character. But the best superhero movies do other things with genre.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you look at, when you look at Spider-Verse, I mean, obviously Spider-Verse is animated and you can start, really just splitting hairs on that.
Sure.
But Spider-Verse is a superhero movie,
Oh, yeah.
but it's also an adolescent coming of age movie. It's a movie about finding your family and your place in the world. Like
Yeah.
they figure out like superhero isn't it doesn't have to be the whole genre.
No.
And I think one of the things that's giving people Marvel fatigue right now is because Marvel movies have turned into big fight CG. You are missing a little bit of that heart and a little bit of that wiggle room that Marvel movies used to have. Like, so every Marvel movie that came out was a Marvel superhero movie.
Yeah.
But it used to be that you could watch a trailer for a Marvel movie and you could be like, I know what genre that they're hinting at here. Like Civil War was supposed to be a spy thriller in the Marvel universe. It was
Right.
like 3 Days of the Condor, right?
Yeah.
That's why you grab Robert Redford. Is
Yeah.
you want to point at Robert Redford and be like, see what we're doing? And when Marvel used to do stuff like that, where you were like, oh, it's a superhero movie, but it's also this.
Yeah.
They haven't had the time to do that with the schedule I think they've had to be on since Disney Plus or since the last few years. You just can't keep up 3 movies a year when you haven't planned 10 years ahead.
No. So hopefully that's the direction that this takes. And I just encourage everybody to go see movies. Go enjoy movies again. I'm learning to like love watching movies again and
movies
like
are back,
building my
baby.
attention span back up for movies.
Yeah.
And being out in the world and like experiencing it with other people around.
One of
and
the
I also
things-
say that as, you know, somebody who is aware that like COVID is still out
Yeah.
there. Be cautious. I also know the movies are fucking expensive.
Yeah, one of the things that I loved before the pandemic was I had that like $30 a month Alamo membership where you could go see
Yeah.
a movie every day. You can do that at AMC.
I'm reinstating my AMC A-list. I'm back.
Yeah, and I think that was a nice thing to be able to do. If you can afford to swing that, it's nice to just be like, I'm gonna go see a movie because there's a new movie out today.
Last time I had A-list, it was like $20 a month. I assume it's gone up since then, but AMC A-list was a great deal. You could see up to 3 movies a week at AMC theaters. And like, you know, regionally, AMC theaters are everywhere here and have like the biggest collection of movies. We also have local theaters that I really like to go to, but that AMC A-list is like a really, really good deal.
Yeah,
I don't know how much it is now. I wonder if it's the same.
it's probably more. Everything's
Everything's more now.
Let's jump over to some video game news.
Okay. While we're talking about video game news, I think this is important to start with. So it's kind of the combination of these stories together. A headline was put out by Kotaku that I thought was very interesting, which is, "Dear video game industry, please name a woman."
Okay.
And I felt like this was exceedingly relevant to the Game Awards nominees this year, and also a whole lot of other things. We're seeing this like regression in including women in things that is staggering when you actually look at them side by side. When you see continually showcases go up where entire dev teams stand on a stage and no women are present. When you see an entire collection of hosts of a network stand on stage and no women are present. When there's one woman on the stage and when it's usually a white woman on stage. When there's one woman on stage and no one hands her the microphone on that stage.
Right.
And it's very, very disconcerting that we're not talking about it. And I thought that this article was very insightful. This is written by Alyssa Mercante. There we go. I can read. And it's just about like, hey, it's been, you know, nearly a decade since Gamergate.
Yeah.
And then there was this effort of highlighting women in games. And then we said, well, that's enough of that.
Do you have anything special?
to it.
Do you have anything special planned for the 10th anniversary of Gamergate? You doing anything fun?
Locking all of my doors and windows.
We've talked about this regression in everything over the last couple of years. Like we've talked about on the show a few times about how it just feels like in all media and in representation, but also just in cultural opinion.
Yeah.
We've really watched the rise of like these sort of manosphere podcasts and this sort of like, I watched a lot of erosion of sexism over my life and then sort of watched it build back up over the last few years in a big way.
I mean, like Matt Walsh on Twitter this week was tweeting about how making Marvel girly films was going to be the biggest business mistake they've ever made, and how women, like, we can't cater to women with action, and how it's a mistake. And nobody, of course, is acknowledging with the Marvels that this released literally the day of the writer's strike or the actor's strike ending, was unable to be promoted by anyone involved in the film and is being released, you know, all of the women's stories too late. So we continually do this where they're like, oh, well, why didn't you want to watch women's stories? We set you up for so much success.
And we never see marketing numbers for movies. Like we get estimates and things like that. We might hear about it on earnings calls. Somebody will go through it in the next year. But I would be shocked to see if the Marvels had a similar marketing budget to, like, I don't know, any other Marvel thing in the last few years.
No way. And like, again, they couldn't do any press tour for it. Nobody could talk about it. People were even boycotting movies for a lot of this strike and not in the habit of going to it. People are experiencing Marvel fatigue. There's all of these reasons, but of course the blame is women. And in this article, they reference that the inappropriate conduct towards women at GDC 2023, which was like incredibly regressive and shocking.
A very cool thing that happened is somebody that I know got drugged at a party and we had to bring her home. And that happened to a lot of people at GDC.
Yeah.
A professional conference for game developers in their industry.
Right. And not to say it would be okay at Comic-Con, but this isn't even Comic-Con where
No.
you're dealing with like a random influx of fans.
What I'm saying is at GDC, unlike some other conventions.
I'm agreeing with you,
Yeah. What I just want to clarify, what I'm saying is you can't make the usual excuse that people make of like dumb teens at cons
Nope.
or frat boys at cons. It's
Nope.
like, no, these are professionals at a professional event. This is what's happening.
In this article, they reference that there were no women on stage at Summer Games Fest this year.
I think literally there was supposed to be one, and
Yeah.
and they said she was sick or something.
Yeah, another excellent headline from Kotaku. This one's written by John Walker. Said there would have been a woman at Summer Games Fest, but she couldn't make it.
She meant to be there.
We totally invited a woman, but she, unfortunately, the one woman, just couldn't make it. That's oopsies. And we just continually see these things going out. And I felt that way when I was looking over a lot of the nominees. Now, obviously, when we're looking at the Game Awards, we're looking at whole games for this. But you do look at this and go, damn, once again, there's not going to be a lot of women here. You look at the voice actor category, and out of 6 nominees, there was 1 woman. The categories that were representative of actual people, just there is a staggering and jarring lack of women's names on these lists that are making games.
And you can say like, hey, the awards nominees represent the industry, and the industry is a systemic issue. But you can also say, hey, as somebody who runs an awards thing, maybe I can, and as somebody who runs an awards thing with a team of people who are industry vets that know the industry in and out, know the depth and breadth of everything that's being released.
Yeah.
You could choose to amplify projects that show that representation.
Absolutely. And there will always be a debate of this because some jackass who wants an excuse to not include usually women and people of color or genderqueer people will say something like, well, it's about best person for the job, which for the longest time had been the phrase best man for the job, to be clear. But with that in mind, you say that as if there is an objective fact to that, which there can't be. Everything about, especially in an award ceremony, is subjective. It is based on a voting committee. It is based on a collection of people's opinions. And most of the time, the problem is that collection of opinions comes from straight white men. So when you say the best person for the job, in your opinion, there's no factor of biases that usually don't factor in that most of these people do often, even if deep below the surface, not like women. And I feel very comfortable saying that because it's not about anybody specific. It is just about the like systemic reality.
It's the what they call the Rolodex problem. And it's basically like you hire the best person for the job that you know.
Yes.
And people tend to know people
Straight white men
that look like themselves overwhelmingly. And when those people have been in control of everything for a very long time, you go to look through and it's like, oh, I want to hire somebody. I mean, how many times have you been like, I want to hire somebody for this? And people go, oh, well, there's this person, this person, this person. And you go, well, do you know anybody that isn't that age group, that gender, that, you know what I mean? Like that, you know, are there people that are out there that aren't being seen that are just as good, if not better?
Absolutely. We have these conversations nonstop as people who run a production company. And how often people's recommendations, they'll send me 3 recommendations and all 3 of them are white men. Or sometimes I put out a post saying, hey, I'm looking specifically to bring more people in where I feel like there is lacking. Like, I don't know enough people in this skill set. I'm looking around LA and I'm finding that there are not enough people with the skill set that have the opportunity to learn it. I am willing to train and teach people to welcome them into it, specifically women, genderqueer people, and people of color. And the amount of emails that I got from random white guys being like, well, how about me? And it's like, well,
right.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, if you put out the call and only random white guys are getting back to you, that probably means that only random white guys are interested in that sort of job. Well, is that true? Or is it just that anybody else feels uncomfortable at that sort of job, or doesn't feel like they can reach out, or whatever? There are a lot of issues, but bringing this back to video games and the Game Awards, we can look through these nominees and even see that compared to the last few years,
Yeah.
there aren't as many games that showcase even women characters.
No, I highly recommend a read of the article. It does represent some and talk about some very cool women. They also reference in here PC Gamer's Completely Womanless Roundup, celebrating the publication's 30-year history. Completely womanless. How
Now,
interesting.
Now, is that the headline? 30 womanless years at PC Gamer?
Yeah.
And here's to 30 more as the subhead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend reading that because it does highlight some of the women doing excellent work in here, but also some of the problem. It also references friend of the show, Andrea Renee.
Yep.
In
Couple
here,
friends are in here. Rebecca Valentine is name checked. Old Duck Valentine has a couple things in there. They talk about the Games and Harassment Hotline, which was run by some friends of the show, and a lot of great things that are happening.
Yeah. So check that out. But let's talk a little bit about the Game Award nominees. This is a little bit old news now because this came out like essentially, I think, right after the show on Monday?
Yeah. I mean, what I think is let's go through and see if there's anything that really surprised you or anything that you felt like really got snubbed.
So let's talk about the Game of the Year category. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's the biggest category of it. And what we have is Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
One of these things is not like the other.
Well, none of
One of
them-
these things just doesn't belong.
And what that thing was is not female protagonists.
Yes, but also
Baldur's Gate 3 is the only one that you could argue for that, and you made the character.
Resident Evil 4 remake in Game of the Year. Now, Game of the Year, I was talking about this on my stream the other night. Game of the Year, the only category that has 6 nominees. They have an extra slot for nominees, and they put in Resident Evil 4 remake. In a year that was absolutely stuffed with new and incredible games.
Yeah.
They didn't even throw. Now, I think some people told me that they think this was because of its rocky launch.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you didn't even give that 6th slot to Jedi Survivor? Like another huge and amazing AAA game.
Yeah.
That, like, no, nothing.
Nope.
No, Resident Evil 4 remake. And Resident Evil 4 remake is good. And it does, but like,
That's a little odd.
Game
though.
of the Year in 2023, good?
Yeah.
That's wild to me. That does.
That was surprising to me as well.
You were doing the little grabby hands, and some of these things. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that running an awards show of this size and magnitude in this industry and trying to get yourself entrenched as the event.
An authority in games.
Yeah. I think it's really over the last few years, last 3 years in particular, I think they're really starting to get there with the Game Awards. And I think a lot of political moves have to be made. I'm not going to say money moves, but I will say some nominees looked like strategic to me.
Yeah, I could see that.
Very strategic to me.
Was there anything else particularly interesting to you in the nominations, Anthony?
Well, there is, I mean, listen, we don't need to talk about it much because one of the greatest Twitter threads of all time already talked about it the other day between Greg Miller and Andy Cortez.
Yeah, the indie game category. I do think that was a very, very interesting conversation.
The indie game category is one that's very close to my heart. I spent 10 years in my beginning of the industry covering nothing but indie games.
Yeah,
because-
primarily what we both play is indie games.
Yeah, and it's because I believe in them more than anything else in the industry.
Absolutely. I always look forward to, we're going to talk about the indie showcase probably after this. I always look forward to the indie game category, and that's usually the category I've played the most games from.
Right. And
when it comes up in any of these award shows, showcases, etc.
yeah, and now when you look at the game, when you look at the category for indie games, the description of it is for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system.
Which we love. That's incredible. So let's talk about these nominees.
Yeah.
We have Cocoon.
Yep.
Great.
Perfect.
Followed by Dave the Diver.
Let's stick a pin in that.
Dredge.
Yep, wonderful.
Sea of Stars.
Yes.
Viewfinder.
Sure.
Hey, Dave the Diver?
Hey, Dave the Diver, that quirky little indie game about the man who dives for the fish and then runs the sushi shop.
Yeah, you played it. You really loved it. You recommended it to me.
Yeah, I think you would love this game. It's just a quirky little pixel art game that was just made by Mint Rocket, a wholly owned subsidiary of Nexon, one of the largest publishers in the world.
A wholly owned subsidiary of one of the largest publishers in the world. And that's not an exaggeration.
Now you can argue indie, and this is what Andy Cortez was saying, and I want to say we love Andy Cortez.
So much.
So much more than anybody else at the Kind of Funny office. And Andy, you can tell them all that we said that.
That's true. Here's the thing. We're never going to disagree with Andy more than Greg.
No, God, no. No, how could you disagree with anybody more than you disagree with Greg Miller? And that's why this personally hurt me, this thread.
No, it's that I'm never going to disagree with Andy more than Greg disagrees with Andy.
No. I disagree with everything Greg Miller says. Now, Andy was saying indie has really become a bit of like a vibe. It's an aesthetic.
No.
It's sometimes, even within a large company, a team of 10 people makes a smaller game, blah, 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 blah. And I get what he's saying. But, and what he was saying is, I want there to be a place at the Game Awards for something like Dave the Diver that was so popular and resonated with so many people this year.
Why can't that be in any of the categories that already exist? Why can't that be in just the category for the genre that it comes from?
Could be in literally anything else. Taking a slot from another indie game is not the way to do it when there's really no representation of indie games in what we would consider main prestige categories.
And when you think about what winning a category or even being nominated for something at the Game Awards can do for anyone in any of these categories, the biggest thing that it could possibly do for a game would be the indie category.
Yeah.
Like that is the category that would be the most significant, that could do the most for a development studio. Because a lot of these other studios are already massive. And when they get a Game Award, it's like, oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
This could be life-changing for indie developers.
And I'm sure from Mint Rocket's perspective, and listen, I've worked at large companies and small teams. I get it.
Same.
From Mint Rocket's perspective, they could say we are the smallest team at Nexon. They could say we operate with the smallest budget at Nexon. We have to do miracles over here to get our stuff out. And all of that can be true.
Absolutely.
And you are still not operating outside of the traditional publisher system.
No.
So you cannot be an indie game.
Operating the smallest ride at Disneyland is still a ride at Disneyland,
That's
guys.
Right. You can't do it. There were so many good indie games this year that to see a slot taken up by Dave the Diver, and once again, no slight to Dave the Diver, no slight to Mint Rocket.
No. Literally, I have a text from Anthony this week that was like, you're going to love Dave the Diver. You should play it just before this came out. The conversation is more about the Game Awards, realistically, and about the way that we acknowledge it. And there was a lot of conversation back and forth in Greg's thread about what is an indie game. And there were, fans and stuff engaging in the discourse of being like, it's a look, it's an aesthetic, it's a vibe. What about this? What about showing off these games? And then being like, then make another category.
Yeah.
Then make another category, name that vibe.
Or don't be afraid, don't be too cowardly to say that a smaller game is better than a larger game. And
that is also the case. But here's the thing. Should Dave the Diver have gotten a nomination? I haven't played it yet. Based on your recommendation? Sure, absolutely. There are so many other categories that it probably could have fit into.
I honestly, as much as I love Dave the Diver,
You wouldn't put it up for any of these?
I don't think I would put it up for any of these. It's
Okay.
it's a great game, but we're in a year of really, really amazing games.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It's just not there. It's a great game, but it's not like one of these prestige award. Even for an indie game, it wouldn't.
Sure.
And
then in this category, there should have been an indie game represented. So I am firmly on the stance of indie is not a vibe. Independent, outside of traditional publishing means, has a very strict definition. And not just that, they say it on the category too.
Yep.
They say it on the category, which is what makes this so frustrating.
Yeah. So in an overall opinion, or overall within the industry, overall within life, you could say that indie is a bit of a vibe. But for this category, they specifically state their rules.
Yes.
And Dave the Diver does not follow those rules.
So that was kind of all that I think is necessary from like the Game Awards stuff.
Yeah.
I mentioned, like I said, I think there's one woman in the voice acting category or something.
Yeah.
There's like not a lot of female protagonists represented throughout the games. There's not none, but there's not enough.
Yeah.
As with all award shows, the same 5 games are nominated for every category, which, you know, you get used to with award shows. And some of those games are wonderful and very exciting and games that we absolutely loved this year.
There is one more thing that I thought was particularly egregious. Well, actually 2, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, yeah. 2 that I thought were particularly egregious. One was for best ongoing game.
Okay.
If we look at the best ongoing game, which I am having trouble finding here, but if you can find it,
I'm also trying to
best
find
ongoing. Here we go.
Let's
Let's take a look at the best ongoing game. I've got it up here. You've got Apex Legends.
Okay.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh.
Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. Now, if you're
Non-stop W's for Cyberpunk.
now if you're doing a goof,
Ongoing best.
Always
Always good.
In that-
Cyberpunk 2077. I know people love Phantom Liberty.
in that they can't stop developing 2077 because they just can't get it right and get
That's
it finished.
funny.
That's funny. What's it doing in this category where once again
Apex Legends.
it's a 5 slot category.
Yeah.
There are a ton of persistent games as a service. We
Yeah.
know that right now a lot of online games are struggling. It is a oversaturated market.
Yeah.
And I think the things that people love should be represented to give them a little bit more of that attention they deserve. Best ongoing game.
Best ongoing game.
Cyberpunk is not, you release one DLC. That's not an ongoing game.
It'll never be done, Anthony.
A lot of games have DLC. What are you doing?
This is a game as a service. Like my apartment is a place as a service. And I
Right.
frequently have to call my landlord because the sink stops working.
Yeah, it's a home as a service.
It's a home as a service, kind of. That's kind of what CD Projekt Red is for Cyberpunk players.
I'm hoping
A bad landlord.
I'm hoping for a maintenance update soon
Yeah.
on my home as a service. So yeah, Cyberpunk 77, a game that was released broken and then said, "Are you proud of us? We fixed it." And I said, "I don't know because you're making me pay $30 to see if you fixed it. So I'm not going to do that."
No.
That's not best ongoing game. That's also the other thing. The category is best community support. Best community support. Number 1, Cyberpunk is in that too. Best community support. They refunded me real quick.
Remember when they were blocked from selling the game on PlayStation for a while? Mm-hmm. Because Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Best community support. Now, the other one that's on here that's very interesting is Destiny 2. Destiny 2, of course, just had tons of layoffs, including the social team and the community team. And what's really funny about this is a few years ago when Destiny 2 won the Community Support Award,
Yeah.
Bungie didn't allow any members of the community team to attend the Game Awards. The studio heads accepted that award at the Game Awards on
For
the
best community support.
on the community team's behalf, and then would not allow the community team to celebrate it at work the next day.
Oh my God. I do have to agree with everybody that Larian should absolutely have it. The Baldur's Gate 3 community support has been phenomenal.
It's been so good.
It's been like unbelievable, truly.
Hello Games, of course, should be up for this every year.
Yeah.
But I think this year, really, Larian was just update. They were on Twitter. They were answering support tickets. They were
So
answering
engaged
emails.
with community. Even like other things that are like, oh, we've been delivering extra content to the community. They know what they're tapped in. They're dialed in.
How do you think Baldur's Gate is going to do? It's nominated in a lot of categories.
I
and
think it's going to crush.
Yeah?
I think it's going to absolutely sweep. I don't think it takes Game of the Year because I
Me
think
neither.
Spider-Man takes Game of the Year.
Yeah, it could be.
I think Spider-Man takes Game of the Year, but I think Baldur's Gate is going to sweep up. It's nominated in a lot of categories. We've got some stuff for like voice actors. We've got a lot of stuff for like narrative things for Baldur's Gate that I think it can crush in.
I love that Neil Newbon got a nomination for Asterion.
Yeah.
Like, out of all the characters in the game, out of all the performances, I love Asterion. We were talking about it. Asterion has that like cartoon villain vibe, but in a way that isn't corny or cheap or annoying.
Oh no, perfect.
It's perfect.
Truly perfect.
He feels like the bad guy in an 80s movie about a ski resort.
Yeah.
You know, you just fucking love it. Now, content creator of the year is another one where, So here's the thing. People Make Games should win.
Yeah.
People Make Games makes incredible documentaries about the industry. They are the people that uncovered a lot of the problems that were going on with literal child labor in Roblox.
Yeah.
They were the people that uncovered a lot of the emotional abuse that was going on in indie studios when the Disco Elysium studio broke up. They were the team that covered exactly why that team broke up.
That would be great.
They'll never win.
No.
They'll never win. I think it goes to Iron Mouse.
The voice actor category is also very interesting. I was shocked Amelia Tyler, the narrator for Baldur's Gate 3, was not nominated for this.
Me too.
That was exceptional. And like all the additional content that they've been hyping up with her, I was shocked she was
That's
not
the thing.
nominated.
And I mean, no, like once again, this is not shade to Neil. We're happy that Neil got nominated, but hey,
No, it can be shade to other
you
people
could
in the
nominate
category.
two people from
Yeah,
the, from
I
the
don't
same
think
game.
Idris Elba needed to be nominated. And I say this as somebody who loves Idris Elba. I don't think that he needed to be nominated for Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty as a best voice actor.
Here's the thing. I think Idris Elba in this category, and I also think the best adaptation category, those kind of categories are what kind of star power can we get to show up? Like when people were like, what do you think is going to win best adaptation? I was like, well, if Pedro Pascal says that he'll show up, then I think it goes to The Last of Us.
Sure.
If Jack Black shows up and not Pedro Pascal, I think it goes to the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Sure.
You know, I think it's one of those categories.
We've got here 4 white men, 2 people of color. Melanie Libbard from Alan Wake 2 is the only woman nominated.
Saga
for
Anderson,
this.
she crushed. She crushed. But yeah, it's Ben Starr, the good boy from Final Fantasy 16.
Cameron Monaghan from Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yep. Idris Elba, Neil Newbon, and then Yuri Lowenthal for Spider-Man. Now, I think all of these performances are absolutely brilliant and wonderful. But you are right in that, like, hey, what's up?
I don't know, just like, hey,
What's up?
Take note, I suppose.
What's up? If you're gonna have one performance category, let's take a look. Let's
Yeah.
take a look at how you're distributing that.
What if we had more performance categories?
Because here's the thing: if you're telling me once again that Amelia Tyler wasn't as good as every one of those performances, doesn't deserve to be put in there,
you're wrong and you should go to jail.
yeah. So it's
So
very
don't tell me
interesting.
that because you'll go to jail.
I think it's interesting that that's another one that has 6 slots too.
Yeah.
They really want to like.
The 6th is for an Idris Elba.
The 6th is, you hold a place at the table for the Prophet Elijah or Idris Elba.
Yep.
I think like it's definitely when you see those extra slots, how much star power can we get to attend the Game Awards?
Truly.
You know, but that's the Game Awards, and I think it'll be once again be a very fun show. But also remember, an awards show, like, it's not representative of how everyone feels. It's just a thing. It's an
just an
industry.
award show.
It's an industry patting itself on the back.
Absolutely. And a lot of these people deserve the pat on the back. And
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. And that's really great. Continuing, because you did mention about the Destiny layoffs, the Bungie layoffs, and I did want to just throw this in here really quick. We don't have to talk about it for long, but the tech layoffs have continued. And unfortunately, this one hit, as many have, some friends. Amazon Games has laid off 180 workers. And when we finished the show on Monday, I saw this news immediately. And it didn't hit for me because I was like, oh shit, that sucks. What we didn't realize immediately was that also hit the Crown Channel,
Yeah.
which Anthony and I have both done a lot of work for. I can speak for myself and say I loved working with Crown.
They were amazing.
Amazing team over there that did a lot of wonderful things, a lot of fantastic talent, a lot of our friends working on the shows over there.
Yeah, I mean, Trish Hirschberger, friend of the show, co-hosts Pit Crew with
Yeah,
Malik
and Malik Forte.
With Malik Forte,
Also
who is
friend of the
also a
show.
friend of the show. Gina DeVivo had a show
Yeah.
on that channel. A lot of friends had shows on that channel.
Chelsea Bites. So many wonderful and talented friends have been making
I met
things.
a lot of people working at Crown, like
Yeah.
doing fun things.
We, of course, were the champions of esports at Crown Channel.
Two-time champions.
Two-time champions of all esports.
That's right.
So it is very, very sad to see them go. It is very sad to see another round of layoffs right before the holidays. And it is a bummer to see another like channel that was trying to make good stuff go.
And it's one of those things we've been talking about where if you are a department within one of these large mega corporations, it's not enough to just do the things that are expected of you, and it's not enough to just do the things that are above and beyond. You got to make a shit ton of money in a very short amount of time, or these corporations would rather take the rounding error on their taxes.
Yeah, because they don't actually set you up to make a lot of money. And I've worked at companies similar to this that I think were structured very similarly, where they continually are like, oh yeah, this is just kind of like an experiment. We're not worried about profit. And then they look at you one day and they go, okay, experiment done.
Yeah.
And I think that, for Amazon in that situation is kind of one of those situations. It's what G4 was for Comcast.
Yeah.
It's just one of those where you look at and you go, okay, well, that was fun. I think we got the data we needed from that. And they don't factor in all of the people and the livelihoods and the content and the creative, which is a huge bummer.
Yeah.
So
basically what Amazon is saying is a lot of their gaming focused efforts, including the development of games, as we've seen, a lot of their gaming focused efforts, they're saying, it's not worth it. People just want Amazon Prime Gaming to just get free games every month.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, but also how is giving away free games every month profitable for you? What do you get out of that?
Yeah.
Like, what's the long-term goal there? At least when you have something like Crown, you're trying to add an editorial voice. You're trying to grow an audience and a community.
Yeah.
And you're trying to show your value above being like a slot machine every month that I pull to get a free thing.
Right. So rest in peace to Crown Channel. And I hope that everybody lands really wonderfully in very great new jobs.
They're all brilliant people over there.
Now, I think we have to talk about the last big story because it is already 10:22, Anthony.
Oh my goodness. Yep. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Let's talk about charity fraud, everybody. Allegedly.
So, the Completionist, who you are probably familiar with, a YouTube channel run by Gerard Khalil.
Over 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube, which is currently declining.
Yeah. Known for, in addition to reviewing games that he plays to 100% completion, that's the gimmick of the channel.
That's the name.
Has also been known for doing a lot of charitable events, participating in a lot of charities, and doing a lot of like interesting things for video game preservation. One of the biggest videos that he had recently was the thing where he downloaded literally everything from the Wii and 3DS shop before they disappeared.
Yeah, we spoke about it on the show at the time.
Then donated it to the Video Game Preservation Society.
Well, hopefully.
It turns out.
I wonder if they ever got it.
So for I think for about 10 years now, Gerard has had a charity called the Open Hand Foundation, run by him and a couple members of his family.
Yes.
And they do charity streams for hospitals and organizations that deal with dementia. It was started apparently in memory of Gerard's mother who suffered from dementia.
So the website for this says all proceeds earned during the event go to the Open Hand Foundation. Now, here's where the problem comes in. The Open Hand Foundation was a dead-end road. The Open Hand Foundation actually didn't. There is no foundation at hand, actually.
Yeah.
There is an organization formed, and it was filed as a nonprofit back in 2014. And tens of thousands of dollars have gone to operating costs, but unfortunately, the other $600,000 that have been raised in the last 9 years of running this as a charity organization have actually gone literally nowhere. They are sitting in a bank account.
Yeah. So the organization started, Open Hand formed, they claimed to formed in 2003, but they were only registered as a nonprofit in 2014. They have been operating charity events, I believe, since 2003, even though they were not a charitable organization until 2014. So that's kind of, but also, yeah, this $600,000 that they've accumulated in donations. There are multiple clips of Gerard on camera saying, hey, we don't touch this money. This money immediately goes to organizations. We've given money to this organization, and this organization, one of which was like the Alzheimer's Association.
Yeah, there was also like a University of San Francisco or something like that for Alzheimer's research. Or dementia, was it?
Alzheimer's and dementia. So they said we give all of it to these organizations.
And quote, so many more.
And they have not given any money to those organizations. And also the Alzheimer's Association says that the Open Hand Foundation is not a partner of theirs and not somebody that they have worked with before. The university, UCSF says that they don't keep a list of donors, but nothing on the site shows any donations or news bulletins about donations from the Open Hand Foundation.
Right, and you might be wondering, how could this information about $655,000 sitting in a bank account untouched without a single dollar donated could possibly be public? And that's because of public tax filing records. So this isn't, though we're saying allegedly that it is charity fraud, it is not alleged that this money has not been donated.
Right.
It is factual that $0 have been donated, and factual that he has continually on camera said that it has been too. So there's not even like a workaround of like reason for this when you've been directly saying that it was. Now, they do have an excuse. They do have a supposed explanation, which is that over the course of the last 9 years of running these public events that celebrities have showed up for, other content creators have showed up for, communities have rallied together for to donate, they just simply haven't found the right partner to donate all of that money to.
Yeah. So the official statement is this: prior to our official registration as a foundation, we donated body parts for research and made financial contributions to an institution that, in our view, made insufficient progress in the fight against these debilitating conditions. This prior experience has taught us the importance of careful consideration in our partnerships and is the reason why we continue to search for a proper partner and recipient of our donations. Now, when you say we haven't found the right person to give the money to, but you also say on camera, here are all the places that we're giving money to.
You've entirely invalidated that statement.
Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Now, as far as legally, like we were discussing this, if the money has stayed in a bank account and their admin fees are not found to be exorbitant for what they've been doing, legally they're just dicks. Like they're not doing something illegal,
right,
but immoral and unethical are different things.
Now, I don't know, and I would love if anybody's a little more informed than me on this from a legal perspective. I know that we do have some legal BBs in the community.
Yeah, are you any of you legal BBs?
What the legality is of saying that the money is being donated to specific organizations, because there also could be something separately illegal there in the, we said the money is going and the money did not go.
Now, Gerard has said that he was under the impression that they had ironed out where the money was going to, but he just kept saying it. He just kept saying it.
It is your responsibility to be informed when you speak to an audience, and it is your responsibility if you organize a charity event to know where that money is going. It's not like, oh, I was just a random streamer and I did something with Extra Life and I didn't know where the money was going. My bad. No, this is like your organization that you are a part of, that your family owns, that you are organizing the events for to fundraise for. You are in charge of the messaging. You are in charge of the fundraising. You have asked people for money and they have given it. And it is your responsibility without question. There's no gray area on whether or not he had a responsibility to be informed on where that money was going. Now, whether or not he actually didn't know, that's for you to decide. Personally, I don't think that there is a snowball's chance in hell that this person did not know where the organization that their family was running was putting that money for the last 9 years.
This is not one of those situations where somebody was hired or asked to do something for charity and was like, I don't know, I looked at the organization and they seemed fine. You, your father, and your brother run the organization.
Yeah, he is one of the directors of it, and the co-owners are his father and his brother.
So that's pretty interesting. Now, the direct statement that was made online was that now it's during these Indieland streams, which a lot of people know, and the Indieland streams are great because they bring independent developers out. They showcase their games. They make money for charity. This seems like a win-win-win-win-win, right? Like how can you lose with this? It's just a good event. But during this event, he did say that they are one of the main funding support partners of the University of California, San Francisco. One of the main funding support partners. Now, UCFS...
Imagine just saying shit. Imagine just saying shit.
Imagine just saying a thing.
And like not thinking someone can fact check me on this.
Dude, do you know how much money that I'm owed for being one of the main funders of Star Wars?
Yeah.
Do you know how much I've funded Star Wars?
Yeah. I'm actually one of the main funding partners of Candy.
Now, I was going to say we should be a little, we have to be a little forgiving here because who amongst us has not run a large charity event and then spent the money on candy and toys?
You're so right. But mine was raising money for charity, for candy.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I was allowed.
So
I didn't say
allowed
it was
to.
for charity.
No, you just said it was for candy.
I said it was for candy.
You didn't say it was for children.
Yeah, what I didn't
You
say...
did show B-roll of hungry children
that want candy.
During the event, but you didn't say the candy was going to them.
What we didn't do was raise $600,000, take advantage of many people's time, community, and money, and then spend 9 years not donating it. Now, people are like, maybe it's a bad tax account, and maybe it's all of these things. No, because your tax person does not handle your donations. And two, it's like they've already come out and confirmed it. So it's not even, again, it's not an allegation anymore in the sense that he has now responded and they're all like, oh no, we just haven't found the right partner. So they are also admitting that the money did not go and no money has been donated.
Right, because on camera, he's saying, look at all these wonderful partners we're giving money to.
If you did one event,
Yeah.
and after the fact, you were like, whoa, we were going to donate it to one place. Turned out that place was not a good place to donate money. We need to figure this out. Don't host another.
Maybe it's like dishes. Like, I know I have to do the dishes. Like, I know I have to donate $600,000, but I just keep looking at the dishes piling up and the money piling up, and I go, that's so much work.
And then you see the admin fees, and you're like, okay, to administrate what?
Well, that's the thing. So admin fees means that they're using the money, some of the money, to at least fund probably the Indieland streams or the charity streams. They're probably, and this is where it starts to get, and this is all speculation. If you run the company or you do work for the company all year, they probably get paid a little bit of money to be the admins.
Yes.
That those, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, I would say that the most important thing that you have to do as the admin, your most important administrative task, is to get that money to the sick people.
Yep.
Everything else secondary.
Yeah, I would say administrative for a charity, that's number one. I want to shout out some things that people are saying in chat. We have some fun people just saying shit. If you can just say shit.
Everybody can just say shit. We're just saying shit.
Quasi says, I own the moon. Because you can apparently just say shit. I also wanted to respond to Cat's Paw, who said, I get the vague feeling there's some family drama in the background, trusting people to have taken care of things that did not. Gerard himself is the director of the organization. There is no way to be the director of an organization and not know and be like, well, I thought they were donating the money this whole time. And if that is the argument that you're going to use, I thought they were donating the money the whole time. I trusted them.
Yeah.
So, then it's like, okay, are you evil or just a complete fucking fool?
So there is a quote from Gerard.
Which is dangerous.
There's a quote supposedly from Gerard. A lot of this reporting was done by Some Ordinary Gamers and then Carl Jobst, both excellent YouTube channels for this sort of thing. And they provided audio of what they claim to be a call with Gerard.
Gerard.
And Gerard says, I knew the money was sitting there at a certain point, and that's what made me proactively go about it. I was made aware in 2021 that the money hadn't moved yet, and that's what made me go, that's not fucking cool. And that's when I got personally involved to move it. The issue is
That was almost 3 years ago.
He said, wait, it wasn't 2021, last year, 2022.
Oh, shut up.
He did. That's part of the quote.
Okay.
But then he said,
Oh, wait, no, more recent than that.
yeah. But then the other thing is, in a 2023 stream this year, he stated the same organizations again, and that money had gone to them.
He's incriminating himself over and over and over again. This is not incompetence. This is, I mean, it's probably a combination of malice and incompetence. But like it is almost inarguable of some sort of malicious intent when you are holding $600,000 from people who need it. Like there is almost no argument for a moral reason that could ever happen.
Yeah. Even if you are having even if you were having some sort of an argument where it's like, hey, this foundation is supposed to be the three of us. Your job is supposed to be to disperse the money. You need to disperse the money. Once you find out it's been 10 years and they haven't dispersed the money, you might just need to sit down and disperse the money yourself.
And if you found out last year and referenced multiple years and then took it back that you found out and also said, that's when I became proactive, what does that mean? What did you do?
Yeah.
The money never moved. So what do you mean you became proactive? What does that mean? It sounds like you got caught, bro. Like it just sounds like you got caught.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, ZSH21 is saying, yeah, it's my family drama. I tell my brother to do something. He'll say, no, you do it. And then days go by and nothing happens. And it's like, yeah, I get that. I've been there.
Yeah.
But eventually you have to give the $600,000 to the sick children.
I hate it when I tell my brother to donate the $600,000 we raised and he doesn't do it. And I go, well, that's shame.
That's all I could do.
Aw, man.
That's all I could do. I told him to do it. It's not my job. Listen, he's got to learn responsibility at some point. Just because our names are both on these legal documents.
Yeah, just because I'm the director of a charity organization and I go on camera every day to 1.5 million people and lie to them doesn't mean I'm going to pick up the slack for my brother to make sure these sick people get their money. That's on him.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is a bad thing, and it sucks because a lot of people loved it.
Yeah.
And those streams were a lot of fun for a lot of people. And we have friends that participated in those streams and
not anymore.
Not
anymore.
And it's such a bummer that things were at the very least this horribly mismanaged.
There was also one chat from PS Witch who said, like, this makes me weary of donating to any charity. And here's what I will say. Charity organizations are actually highly researchable. Mm-hmm. Their information has to be incredibly transparent. Unfortunately, nobody was really looking into this, and that is the problem. But there are things online. You can go to Charity Navigator to get information.
Yeah.
A lot of actual 501c3 nonprofit organizations will post on their websites exactly how the money is spent.
Yeah.
We have run charity streams here on the channel on multiple occasions. And in that situation, I find it to be a personal responsibility to heavily research exactly how the money that we are donating is spent when it comes to supporting the individuals that we say we're supporting.
Yeah.
And we don't even own that organization. So if we can do that to run a one-shot D&D game, this could be done, but you shouldn't be wary of donating to any charity organizations. There are wonderful organizations doing excellent work. Alex just shouted out the Foundation to Decrease World Suck is great. That's John and Hank Green. That's what they run their, what is it called? What is their yearly Project for Awesome?
Yeah.
Project for Awesome runs through every year. They're very transparent about where that money goes. If you do enjoy like supporting through creators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There are also direct organizations that you can support monthly to. I make, regular donations to a couple of organizations I love.
You made mention of Charity Navigator. It's just charitynavigator.org, and it really is great for finding things. When we did the Bright Spot events during the pandemic, another great one is Direct Relief. We researched. I was very worried about charity organizations myself because a lot of things, people just default to ones that they know. And so they'll default to like the Red Cross, and like the Red Cross is like 70% administration fees.
Yeah. How much, how many times have we seen people funneling things into Autism Speaks, a horrible organization?
It's so, you want to look that up on Charity Navigator, but if you like the Red Cross, you'll love Doctors Without Borders.
Yeah.
That's a great one. But Direct Relief is great because they changed their cause to literally whoever needs it the most at the time. And they give emergency supplies and comfort supplies to like whoever needs it at the moment.
Yeah.
So you can always look these things up. But you know, the point is you don't give any money to anybody randomly. So don't just do it because somebody says they're a charity.
Oh
but
yeah,
also
fuck the Salvation Army.
Yeah, but also don't mistrust all charities. You can look into it.
Yeah, it is. And we have the tools to make it not that hard. We have the tools for that to be a 15-minute research, which is incredible. That's wonderful. So with that in mind, fuck this shit, I guess. That sucks. That's really, really horrible. $600,000 is a hugely significant amount of money. And when you really break it down to who that comes from, when you're fundraising from a community and not even from businesses, those are individual people's hard-earned money that wanted to support something.
Yeah.
And that's tragic. You think back to somebody who was like, shit, $100 is going to spread me a little bit this month. Like it's going to be a little spread thin, but like,
how many people do you know that have gone without a little something, a little comfort or a little something, or rearranged their budget to give to charity, thinking that their money was going to go to somebody who needed it more than they did.
Yeah.
And whoopsie.
Yeah. So in this situation, there is a lot of debate and a lot of people want to give a lot of benefit of the doubt. And when you have so much, you only have so much benefit of the doubt for people in this world, I say use it wisely for people that deserve it. That's kind of my thought on it. We will keep you updated as I'm sure there will be an official statement, because there isn't an official statement from Gerard. There's just been like pieces to different people so far. So there's been no public statement on any of his social media or his YouTube channel about it. I'm sure at some point he will have to acknowledge this. So whether it's Friday or Monday, we will keep you updated on what happens next. But don't commit charity fraud, kids.
Don't commit charity fraud. Listen, and give your money to us. We don't claim to be a charity. We
sure
claim
don't.
to take your money and spend it on ourselves and on this studio. And we're not lying.
Shafrikas, who is one of the legal BBs, said something, and I do want to read it before we
What's
move
up,
on.
legal BB?
Said, okay, y'all, I refreshed my brain and just really need intent to, hold on, trying to zoom in. Oh God, everything is
Just
going
need
wrong.
intent to defraud or obtain money or property by means of false or fraudulent misrepresentations or promises.
Which does sound exactly like what he's been doing.
But also Chafrika says, but I don't give internet legal advice.
So grain of salt. Valid. Thank you so much for informed but not official legal advice. Very good to know.
Here's my uninformed but official legal advice.
Legal?
Yeah, it's uninformed, but this is my official legal advice.
Okay.
Put all your money into candy.
Or to patreon.com/pixel circus. Hey. No, really. A couple of organizations that I support regularly, Planned Parenthood, the Trans Legal Defense Fund, and the Marsha P. Johnson Institute are all really wonderful. So if you actually do want to donate money somewhere, those are the ones that I feel very comfortable recommending and research. They're not in the same category of the things that we're talking about, but I would rather speak on an organization I've comfortably spent money on than Arando.
There is somebody who comes to my door every month that says that they are giving money to the National Foundation for Very Good Little Guys.
Yeah?
And they say there are so many little guys that are sad.
That's your landlord trying to get you to pay your rent.
Oh.
Yeah. They've tried a lot of different methods at
Let me
this
try
point.
to imagine the person who comes by without the mustache and the monocle.
Yeah, the bowler hat.
Yeah, you're right. That looks a lot like my landlord.
Yeah, I bet it does. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. Of course, we do this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And it's usually the three of us, but not on Friday because Alex is abandoning us.
He's abandoning us and he's leaving us. And
leaving us behind for the East Coast.
We're just babies. We're just babies.
What will we do?
We're like a baby Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And our Madam Web is leaving us.
I'm really gonna miss you guys.
We're gonna miss you very
can't wait
much,
to come
Alex.
back.
We're gonna miss you very much. Of course, it's not forever. It's just going for the holidays. But
Yeah.
But you know, fuck you.
But hey, fuck you.
But hey, fuck you, bud.
Fuck you.
Chat has a lot of kind misuse and also goodbye forever. How could you?
Yeah.
Which I feel like is a great mixture of BB sentiment. So everybody, if you want to support people when they're not here, Anthony, where would that be for you?
You could find me everywhere on the internet at A Carboni, except for here on Twitch where I'm at Anthony Carboni. Twitch, you cowards, is mine. Give it back to me. You can also catch my comedy science project with Jeff podcast with Jeff.
Science project.
If you like the way I say sentences, wait until you hear me say them for an hour straight on this podcast. It's called We Have Concerns. It's at wehaveconcerns.com. And I'm going live today, probably around like 4 or 5 o'clock on Twitch.
Nice. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Not Saige. I stream on my channel Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And today is a Wednesday. Isn't it? How interesting. How about you, Alex?
You can find me on Twitter at Alder_Mancy. My Strange Hungers game is also returning on Saturday. This is a queer horror D&D campaign that goes live at 9 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/TotalPartyKiss because we all love to kiss each other. And I will also be doing a charity stream at Rolling for Charity on November 18th.
You can also catch his taillights receding into the distance as he leaves you all alone.
Bye forever.